Good evening, everyone. We're finally here, the season finale to crown a champion of the 2022 season. Man, it's been a long season, all the way back from March. We've had a very hotly contested points battle, but it's down to two drivers. DJ Kurtis, who has taken the championship lead by sheer force from Jake Baskinger, just clawed it away from him. Baskinger held a 61-point advantage heading into Homestead a few races ago, and now he is trailing by a handful of points, a lot of points here. Jake Baskinger has to overcome a lot today, and, well, Baskinger basically has to win. It's just them two, Kurtis and Baskinger. And for DJ Kurtis today, he starts on pole alongside his Dejon Weeks. A lot of storylines to follow coming into today's race. Obviously, the championship battle, we will follow that all race long. DJ Kurtis will have to have a nightmare of a day if he is to lose the championship. But 25th or better is the magic number in the magic finishing position Kurtis needs to be running in. No matter what, a top 25 will clinch the title for DJ Kurtis. Jake Baskinger, it's pretty simple for him. Basically, he needs to win. And then his scenarios are a little different. 10th or lower is just not going to cut it for Baskinger. There's no mathematical way Baskinger can win the championship by finishing 10th or lower, and it's even worse if you fell off the lead. So Baskinger basically has to come in here guns blazing and try and grab the race win. Last weekend, Jesse Turner finally got that win. It was looking like very likely it was going to be a winless season for last year's champion. But Turner definitely won't be the champion this season. He's going to have to hand the crown over. But who is he going to hand the crown over to? He indirectly injured his teammate who was in this championship battle at Homestead, who had to sit out at Martinsville. Ended up losing a ton of points to DJ Kurtis. And Kurtis now is the favorite to win the championship. Atlanta has only crowned one champion, Jordan Davis, back in 2019. Davis, a race early in 2019, clinched the title, and he ended up clinching for the third time. And Kurtis could very likely clinch the title today in the season finale to equal Jordan Davis with 3 championships, the most of all time of a driver's history. Nobody other than Jordan Davis has 3 championships. Kurtis is looking very likely to do that. Jake Baskinger is looking for his 2nd title. As for many drivers down the grid, there's a lot of drivers that are saying goodbye, and we know that 2 drivers mainly are retiring for good. Nick Mace, probably the most iconic name of the Sony Cup Series from day one. Nick Mace entered in race 3 at Las Vegas. He was too young to start the first 2 races of season 1. But Mace, he has got 36 race wins. He's got 2 championships, wins in all the Triple Crown races. He is a little icon. And Nick Mace is bowing out. This is his final race in the Sony Cup Series. Man, it's not been the season Nick Mace would have liked, but he did qualify into today's race. He'll start deep in the field. And starting dead last, Zachary Fitzwater managed to get in on speed. Well, he didn't get in the top 8 on speed, but he's got to start in provisional land. And he got the last spot in provisional land, starting 42nd. And, well, the old guy out there, he's had a career of it. He's won a lot of races, and he's done well. And Zachary Fitzwater, well, this last time, him and Nick Mace will be on the racetrack together. Also, Jacob Park, John Art, Matt DeLeo, all on the racetrack this weekend. They will not be back next season, and plans for their career into 2023 are unclear, and it looks like they're not going to be returning. Drivers that are going to Hardy's National Series or Napa Truck Series Racing: Richard Johnson, Daniel Bouchard, Ryan Griffin, Charles Sanford, Jeff James, just to name a few. And also not returning full-time, but will be racing at least in the Daytona 500, or attempting the Daytona 500, Alex Benyako. Benyako, man, he's had a great season. Top 5 in the point standings right now, but he's in that fight in the point standings, and he'll be looking to go out on top. A lot of drivers looking to go out on top. Didn't even mention it, but Jake Baskinger, he is in the championship fight, but this is his final full-time season. And Jake Baskinger's looking to go out on top. He'll be entering part-time races next season, but this is his last hurrah. If Jake Baskinger is to win the championship today, he'll be going out on top in his Sony Cup Series career, but he is a champion of the sport. Him and Kurtis are both champions, but looking to add to their resume. And who is going to win the 2022 championship? It is now final time of the 2022 season. The field of 42 will get set and ready to go racing. DJ Kurtis leads by 33 points in the championship over Jake Baskinger. Kurtis driving for Cybertron Motorsports. That pairing, Kurtis and Cybertron Motorsports, is iconic. Same thing with Baskinger and Ton Performance Racing. Well, Baskinger will be running a part-time schedule next season. This is his last chance to get a second championship. And for DJ Kurtis and Mercedes debut season in the Sony Cup Series, and they're in the hunt to get the Drivers' Championship. A lot of drivers were saying goodbye to Zachary Fitzwater. One last ride on the 22 car. And Nick Mace, most wins all time in the Sony Cup Series, bowing out. A legend of the sport. We're green in the finale of 2022. Onto the back straightaway for the first time today, DJ Kurtis. You know, he took pole position, but he was very worried heading into this race weekend. Usually, when you start on pole, everyone's excited, but not DJ Kurtis. He has started on pole 7 times this season. This is his 7th pole. Most poles all time of a driver in one season, and he did it in 26 races. But Kurtis, every time he started from pole, it has not really been that good of a race for him. He's never really converted pole position that very well on Sundays. And already on the jump, Dylan Young downstairs. A lot of drivers moving on to different places. And we mentioned it at the top of the show that many drivers, going to the Hardy's National Series or stepping away from full-time competition like Alex Benyako. Benyako in the 8 last time. Oh, man, nearly contact with Rodriguez and old teammate Eric Demax. Demax, Dejan Weeks, Rodriguez, Benyako, all of them still high in the points. They have a lot to fight for inside the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Weeks is all over. DJ Kurtis really loose there. Wow, they're all on top of each other, 3 by 3 here. Car is starting to fan out further back. Sean Harpel, meanwhile, for United Emirates Racing, has taken the lead here at Atlanta. Benyako and Dylan Schwellenberg making progress on the bottom. Here comes Matt Rodriguez with James Sorfox. Benyako in his last season would see him racing for the foreseeable future to the outside of Dylan Young. Young will be moving on to Spartan Motorsports his next season, driving full-time for them. Benyako pulls up behind Sean Harpel. UER, United Emirates Racing, has had a solid season, all things considering. Harpel enters this race 14th in points. Sorfox is in 17th in the Drivers' Championship. As far as I can see right here, there's no way. Actually, there's a theoretical possibility, I think. No, there isn't, I don't think. There might be some possibility of Sean Harpel getting inside the top 10 in the points, but it is very unlikely. But on the jump, and we already talked about it, DJ Kurtis, all he needs is a top 25 run today, but Kurtis was not very excited about the race, knowing that he got pole position, and the way poles, all 6 of his poles have been this season, it's just not really panned out the way he would have liked. They are really flying around this racetrack. They're carrying so much speed, and they're having to lift a ton in the corners. Dylan Schwellenberg, who has struggled in the last few weeks, has been very vocal with his team that they need to turn something around. They have really struggled since the engine failure at Michigan when they lost the point lead. And Schwellenberg's in that fight to stay inside the top 10 or top 5 in the point standings. And he can't really have a bad day. He's only about 13 points over Jesse Tunner, who is in 5th. And then Dejan Weeks is also trying to get back in the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship. But speaking of the championship, Jake Baskinger, 2nd in points, 33 behind. Last time for Jake Baskinger as a full-time driver. If he wants any hope of trying to steal the title away, he's going to need something bad to happen to Kurtis, and Kurtis continues to free fall through the field. He's on the outside line. And Baskinger to the insides, making progress down there. It's a multi-groove track here in Atlanta. Usually the inside's where you want to be. The outside is somewhat preferable in the past, but you can see Alex Benyako, James Orfox, showing that the middle and the top groove work a lot here at Atlanta. Benyako rim riding the top, going to the outside of Sean Harple. Harple's teammate Sorfox. Both Sorfox and Harple will return to UER. Try and build on the 2022 season. New car for everyone next season. It's going to make things exciting about where the packing order will be for next year. Benyako and Baskinger trying to close in on Dylan Schwellenberg. Dylan Young also looking to get that last win with Turn to Performance Racing. Eric DeMax looks like he's going to be the star of the future for CM Racing. DeMax has really risen to the occasion in the last final 10 races. And, well, for Eric DeMax, that problem at Martinsville is very costly for him in the points, but he's still in the hunt to try and get back in the top 5 in the standings. Top 8, all are trying, top 8 in the points entering today's race. We're all hopeful they can jump back in to the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship, but there is a bigger fight at hand to be in the top 10 in the points. Joseph Shrigley and Matt Rodriguez are 9th and 10th in points. Zayden Davidson, Richard Johnson, Charles Zanford, all hoping they can jump right into the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. As we look a little further back, Dejon Weeks in the 30. In 9th position, Jeffrey White, Martinsville winner. Zayden Davidson, the pole winner at Martinsville. And then a little further back, Jesse Tunner finally got that win this season at Rockingham. Was so close to winning at Martinsville. He's had a lot of speed these last 2 races. And last year's champions hoping to go out on top. Dylan Schwellenberg continues to lead the way. Dom Katz will be moving on from Martin Motorsports to go drive for Red Bull Racing next season. And that'll be interesting to see how he does, moving on from the Ford family. And DJ Kurtis, he had every right to be a little worried about his pace for today's race. He's really struggling in this early run. They're going to need to make adjustments on pit strategy. And, well, Goodyear did not bring that aggressive of a tire, so possibly a one-stop race for today's race, so not a whole lot of time to get it right. It's going to take one pit stop, and he's under attack. Here comes Shelley to the outside. Lamas looking to the inside. Shrigley's got a fight on his hands, so does Lamas, to finish top 5 and top 10 in the points. Both drivers trying to get around Kurtis. Kurtis has dropped to 16th, and, well, that's 9 positions ahead of where Kurtis needs to be finishing. Well, 25th position, all the way down to Richard Johnson. Richard Johnson, there he is. So just ahead of Richard Johnson and Logan Cloud and Mitchell Collins is right where, Kurtis can't be falling any further back. But a lot of drivers moving on. Mitchell Collins getting the call up to go drive for Allen Family Racing Team next season. He'll be driving the 43 car. John Art in the 43 is a little further back here with Nick Mace. And we'll be saying goodbye to John Art as well. Art in the 43 has had some memorable success in the FBRL, coming up the ranks with CM Racing. Moved over to Allen Family Racing Team. Ultimately has not paid out like he would have wanted. He won at Road Atlanta in 2021. Nick Mace in car 20 hasn't won a race since 2019. And, well, this season, it's been well documented, he would have loved to have had a much better season. But, one last time for one of the greats. 36 race wins, 2 championships, a Daytona 500 winner, Triple Crown winner in all of the 3 Triple Crown races at Indy Darlington. And Cole Baker will still be driving the 99, pretty much just like this, but it'll be a flip-side car. Second flip-side machine, getting some more assistance from Cybertron Motorsports for next season. Ryan Acosta You know, Mason Enterprise is shutting down at season's end. He'll be going to drive for Shea Benyako Racing, which it has been confirmed that Shea Benyako Racing in the 93 team have got that charter. They will be the 36th charter of the 2023 season. They'd won that over. And Cal Farrell on the 57 Great Lakes Motorsports team will not be able to overturn that today. And Farrell in the 57 all the way down in 39th place. Wilcox really struggling out there in the 38th position. And Zachary Fitzwater 41st. This is the last race he'll be doing. Really off the pace and struggling. Aaron Abel in the 38. This is his Sony Cup Series debut. And, well, the 38, when it was at Martinsville, they really struggled. But hoping to have a much cleaner day today. And look at this. Jake Baskinger up front by lap 20. And exactly where he needs to be running. And DJ Kurtis has dropped to 19th position. So unreal to think that, you know, this is somewhat possible. And Jake Baskinger needs to get after it, try and win today's race. But Dylan Schwellenberg has a fast Camry to the inside of Baskinger. Dejon Weeks is right there with him. Anthony Marchese. Weeks and Schwellenberg will stay where they are full-time next season. Baskinger has been documented the third car part-time next season, but Marchese moving over to Red Bull Racing could be start of a rise for him in his Sony Cup Series career. Harple Racing with DeMax for 5th. Sore Fox having a great day so far, with Davidson Bayako just behind with Jesse Turner. Kurtis continuing to struggle. Really bad day so far. We're coming up on the first quarter of the race being so bad that Kurtis has dropped from the pole to 21st position. You know, 25th or better is exactly where Kurtis needs to be running. And he's playing it very safe right now. 21st position. And, well, Richard Johnson is running in 24th, so a little ways back is 25th and 26th. So Kurtis is not under any immediate danger, but he is falling like a rock. There is something wrong with DJ Kurtis's car. They have to make some big adjustments for DJ Kurtis. This is not a championship drive right now, by no means, for the 19 crew. At the front, Jake Baskinger, who is rivaling Kurtis for the title, is not where he needs to be. Even though 4th position technically would be good enough, but that would mean Kurtis would have to drop even more positions. It's just very unlikely. And Baskinger has to get up there and race for the win. Rodriguez Racing Camry's up front. Anthony Marchese, who is leaving that race team at the end of this race, going over 2023 for Red Bull Racing, door-to-door with one of the stars of the Rodriguez Racing Alliance, Dylan Schwellenberg, who was tasked with the hand at trying to bring Rodriguez Racing the championship this season. It's just not paid out. Schwellenberg's hoping that he could end up getting 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Schwellenberg last season finished runner-up to Jesse Turner. And, well, it's technically possible that Schwellenberg could pass Baskinger in the points, but it would take a lot of luck. But all Dylan Schwellenberg is after today is getting that 4th win of the 2022 season and having momentum go into the 2023 year. Anthony Marchese, 2020 Hardy's National Series champion for Rodriguez Racing. He's passing Schwellenberg. And Marchese and Schwellenberg, Hardy's champions, doing a battle at the lead. Dejon Weeks, Jake Baskinger, Eric DeMax continuing to make up the top 5. And how about Sean Harple having a day, isn't he? He's going for 5th. Stops will be coming up in about we're about halfway into the pit stop run. I think these guys will be going about 60 laps on a tank of fuel. And tires will be able to last, I think, not sure. Atlanta is a tire-eating racetrack. And, well, Goodyear, like we mentioned, did not bring as much of an aggressive tire as they did last year. Last year, they had to make at least 2 to 3 stops. This one, it looks like it's going to be more of a one-stop race. But this is a very important pit stop that will come up for DJ Kurtis and the Cybertron Motorsports organization. For Mercedes, they desperately want to bring home the championship for this manufacturer. It felt like it was a done deal, you know, for DJ Kurtis, Cybertron Motorsports. You know, 25th or better should at least be the goal. However, there has only been one time all season DJ Kurtis has not finished 25th or better. I think that's right. I'm going to have to look and see. Confirmed. Only one time this entire season, being Bristol, when DJ Kurtis finished 29th, and I think he finished out of the race. So there's only been one time all season DJ Kurtis has not delivered and not finished in the top 25. He cannot afford to have a second time finishing outside the top 25. This is for all the marbles, the third championship. And, well, while the car is definitely a qualifying car right now, definitely not a race-winning car. You know, that car is just not on pace after 2 laps. Well, Raleigh's racing with Brandon Beal. That's for 23rd position. Kurtis is currently 24th, and that is good enough to clinch the championship. But Dodd and Charlie Smith are not entirely too far behind. And, well, with Jake Baskinger inside the top 5. Actually, he may be outside the top 5 now. No, he's in 5th. Still, advantage Kurtis in the championship. Dejon Weeks has closed in on the battle for the lead. Top 3 have pulled away. Marchese, Weeks, and Schwellenberg into the top 10 running order. Jesse Turner chasing Alex Spignaco. Currently, Dejon Weeks is running in 2nd position, going for the lead. Jesse Turner and Alex Spignaco came into this race tied on points. And currently, Alex Spignaco would be getting the nod over Jesse Turner to finish inside the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship. So Turner would love to finish in the top 5 in points. He has not been there all season. His win at Rockingham launched Turner into the top 5 in points for the first time all season. And, well, would be a great send-off to the 2022 season where he has struggled tremendously. And Jeffrey White, how about this kid here? Turned on the heat, raced with Turner for the win at Martinsville, and he capitalized on everyone's mistakes, and he won that race that day. He's actually doing better than Cody Lamas the last couple of races. And poor Lamas' engine failure. I hope Chevrolet has got their act together after the engine failures that happened at Rockingham. Seems that way. We'll be closing in on halfway in about 12 laps. Joseph Shrigley in the 86, currently doing what he needs to be doing to solidify the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. However, Zayden Davidson's keeping him honest. Davidson entered this race 11th in points, but Matt Rodriguez is struggling right now a little bit. Rodriguez has dropped to 14th. Nod while we're at it. Jacob Hart, 2-time champion of the Sony Cup Series and 2-time Daytona 500 champion. And, well, nobody knows exactly what is going to be on the table for Jacob Hart in the 2023 season, but he is not signed for a full-time gig in the 2023 season. He's racing door-to-door with Cole Baker. This is for 27th position. Baker is racing with Brandon Beal still for today, along with Ryan Acosta, to try and finish in the top 30 in owner points. You know, you get a little bit of a bonus by finishing in the top 30 in points. It no longer really matters anymore as far as locking yourself in because charters for next season, but still bragging rights, and Baker had to qualify his way in this race. And Brandon Beal was locked in for North Border Motorsports. And, well, good on North Border Motorsports, and Brandon Beal really showing out when he gets in this race car. On halfway, Samuel England. So far, no cautions have came out. Very clean race. It's a whole lot different than what it was last season, am I right? What a mess that season, last season's race was. But Samuel England, car 82, last race for Red Bull Racing so far. He'll be on loan to Joseph Shrigley Racing. Dylan Young to the outside of him. Now this is for 15th position. Matt Rodriguez just up ahead of them. They're closing in on Rodriguez ever so slightly. Johnson, Vince Freeze, Dom Caps. James Shelley's back in the race car. We didn't even mention that, but Shelley was out for a couple of races due to concussion protocols. Caps, Charles Sanford. That is the top 21 cars. Then it's Ryan. Oh, engine failure! An engine failure for DJ Kurtis! No way! The engine for the Mercedes! And all that talk heading into the race about being worried about starting on pole position. The pole position curse for DJ Kurtis continues. He's going to finish out of the race, and currently every car is still running. Kurtis is going to make it to halfway, but he needed to make another 50 laps. And this has just handed the championship advantage to Jake Baskinger. Not make this stuff up. Jake Baskinger is now the championship leader. But he has, holy cow, Jake Baskinger currently in position to steal the title away. We talked about it. We talked about how DJ Kurtis was able to snag 61 points away from Jake Baskinger. A 61-point advantage Baskinger had on Kurtis heading into Homestead. I can't believe I'm at a loss for words, and Baskinger knows this. He's definitely going to have to be getting told, like, hey, the 19 just blew up. And, well, let me run through the championship scenarios for you one more time, because I thought Baskinger was going to have to win no matter what. And now, the championship scenario is different. For Baskinger to become champion, he has to finish 9th or better. 9th or better is what's going to make it happen. Jake Baskinger looking to finally get that second title. But for Kurtis, it's all going to come down to fate. It's going to come down to fate to decide if he wins this championship or not. Nothing Kurtis can do now. There's nothing DJ Kurtis can do in these final 50 laps to decide if he's going to be champion or not. Kurtis is going to have to hope that what he did this season is going to be enough to become champion, because 42nd is all he's going to get. Weeks trying to chase Marchese down for the lead. Pit stops will be coming up shortly. I'm lost for words, really. You know, DJ Kurtis, maybe he was running hot. Maybe that's why he was so slow. But Kurtis was in 24th position, and the car just blew up on lap 49, going on lap 50. And the championship leader by 33 points is going to be out of the race. Championship continues to swing back and forth in these final 5 races. I'm so stunned, heartbroken. In the garage is DJ Kurtis now having to look on as the race continues to unfold. Anthony Marchese leads this race. An ignition failure from DJ Kurtis is what's going to plague his issues. Jake Baskinger has failed down to 5th position. 9th or better is all it's going to take for Jake Baskinger to become champion of the 2022 season. Eric DeMax, Dylan Schwellenberg, and Weeks are slowly trying to reel in Marchese. But behind Baskinger, you have Sean Harple, Zayden Davidson, Jesse Tunner, Jeffrey White, Alex Benyako, the top 10. Then Cody Lamas, James Sorfox, Joseph Shrigley, Richard Johnson, Matt Rodriguez, Young, England, Freeze, Shelley, and Caps, the top 20. Then it's Charles Sanford, Ryan Griffin, Brandon Beal, Chris Dodd, Charlie Smith, Cole Baker, Jacob Hart, Zachary Fitzwater's a lap down, Logan Cloud, Peter Ronjack, and Mitchell Collins, the top 30. Then it's the 43 of John Art, Nick Mace, and Jeff James. That is all the cars left on the lead lap as we have reached lap 60. And you can tell these tires are a lot better than what they were last season. Not a whole lot of strategy. I think a lot of people and a lot of fans would have loved to have seen more pit stops. But probably something we'll see next season as more cars are now coming down pit road. The race leader, Anthony Marchese, is staying out, but a lot of cars short pitting here. Dylan Schwellenberg going to be one of the first of the leaders, and here comes Jake Baskinger going to short pit. Anthony Marchese has to respond here. Yes, he is. He's coming down pit road. Dejon Weeks going to try and get all he can getting down pit road. He's also going to be pitting with Marchese. Cycling out. There's Dejon Weeks and Dylan Schwellenberg, who short pitted. Where is he at? Marchese had such a good pit stop, man. Good Lord. He got out so far ahead of Dejon Weeks. Weeks had to have had a bad stop or something. or the 54 team just had that good of a stop. Eric DeMax, who pitted even a lap earlier than Dylan Schwellenberg, he is now into second position. Eric DeMax has really turned the heat on at the last of the season here. He's right behind Anthony Marchese, who's already just starting to pull the gap. Marchese's got a good car this afternoon. 30 laps to go. Jake Baskinger rides in fourth position, closing in on Dylan Schwellenberg while racing with Dejon Weeks. Possible battle for the lead heating up between Anthony Marchese and Eric DeMax. Dejon Weeks passes Jake Baskinger. And yeah, they are right there with the leaders though. 2 seconds back is Jake Baskinger. Baskinger's not playing it really all that safe. He's in the hunt to win. He wants to win. Jake Baskinger would be the first time since 2016 a driver has missed a race during the season and still went on to win the championship. It would be the first time ever in series history that somebody has missed a race, won the championship in a season-long points fight. Nobody's ever done that. But let me say this. Jake Baskinger missed that race at Martinsville due to an injury that he sustained at Homestead. Basically finished dead last at Homestead and then missed Martinsville. DJ Kurtis got a 20-point penalty at Portland. And now today an engine failure, finishing dead last. The only car out of the race in 42nd. We've been caution-free the entire day. Very clean race compared to last year. And, well, things are heating up here inside the top 5. Everybody up here fighting for the win. They have a chance to do that. Close in on Anthony Marchese. Weeks going to the inside of Dylan Schwellenberg, trying to make up ground. Weeks and Marchese pitted the latest to everybody. Schwellenberg got held up by a lot by Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater and Mace in their final starts. Fitzwater's a few laps down and 3 laps down. Mace is 1 lap down, I believe. Yes, he is in 32nd. Tip of the cap to Nick Mace, 2-time champion, legend of the sport. It's going to be a shame to see Nick Mace go, but we all thought 2019 would possibly be his last. And, well, I don't think coming back in 2020, 2021, even this year in 2022, has damaged Nick Mace's reputation at all. You have to remember how great he was as a driver prior to 2020. 2019, beforehand, he had an amazing career. And this year has been a tough one for Nick Mace, but he looks like he's going to finish it on track just the way he wants to. But for Jake Baskinger, Kurtis had a points penalty. Baskinger had to miss a race. So they've both had big issues. Baskinger had that injury at Homestead that put him pretty much dead last, losing a ton of points that day. And now you have Kurtis, an engine failure today. It's all going to come down to if Baskinger can clutch up and get enough points to steal the title away. And we're closing in on 20 to go, and he's in position, and he's closing in on Weeks and DeMax. He doesn't look like he's going to stop at 4th place right now. Track for Charlie Smith. He's slow in turns 1 and 2. Looks like it could be a flat tire. Not sure. We're going to have to get a word from the pit crew of what's going on with Charlie Smith as he limps back to pit road. Charlie Smith, who will be going over to Crossroads Racing full-time next season. His final start for Horizon Group ends with an engine failure. He's slowing back down to pit road. It doesn't look like it's going to be a catastrophic failure for Smith, but he's got to come down pit road, go under the hood, and try and figure out what's wrong with that Pontiac. He has worked his way around Dejon Weeks. He's gotten to the inside of Eric DeMax for second. The championship looks good for Jake Baskinger, but we are at 20 to go. A lot can still happen. Baskinger knows how important it is to finish out these races. Rockingham, he lost a couple of points, a couple of crucial points in the championship. When he had that problem in the closing laps, lost a couple spots because of somebody's failure. Door to door with DeMax for second. And Jake Baskinger, the Daytona 500 champion, trying to close it out. Baskinger peeking out ahead of the Max. He's going to get second place away. And now Anthony Marchese is just up ahead. Away from the really epic title fight we're watching with Jake Baskinger, DJ Kurtis. Kurtis watching on the pit wall. But the 99 team, Kurtis' teammate, Cole Baker, still in that fight to try and take back the top 30 in order point spot. Brandon Beal, the 33, just up ahead of Cole Baker. They are racing for the 24th position. Brandon Beal, what a standout performer he's been in the Sony Cup Series. Beal under fire here. Matt DeLeo, who's a couple laps down, just ahead of him. Now they are the last on the lead lap. Baker gonna look to the inside and try and put car 99 inside the top 30 in order points. 15 laps to go. Jake Baskinger bringing Dejon Weeks with him, and they are closing in on Anthony Marchese. 5 cars within a second and a half for the win here at Atlanta. The Georgia boy, Jake Baskinger, being cheered on by everyone in the stands. This is his home state and his home crowd, all here at the racetrack. This would be a huge day in his career for Jake Baskinger. He already won the Daytona 500 to start the year. He had been missing that Daytona 500 win in about 17 attempts he had been having to try and win that win the Daytona 500. Didn't win at Indianapolis, but he won Darlington in a clutch-up race. And now all he has to do... Oh! Alex Benyako! Benyako is stopped on the inside of the track. Looks like another engine failure for the Chevys. That's back-to-back engine failures for CM Racing to end the year. And for Alex Benyako, they're not going to get top 5 in the Drivers' Championship. And, well, that's going to be it for Alex Benyako's championship and his full-time career at this current moment. Not sure if he'll be back, but for Benyako, this is not how they wanted to end their terms. They will be back racing in the Sony Shootout together, but, man, that is a shame. Fitzwater's very, very slow into turn 1. He was very slow. He kind of held up Anthony Marchese a little bit. Now he's in front of Dejon Weeks. Really hindered the process of everybody getting around him. Weeks is now into second. Jake Baskinger, Dylan Schwellenberg, Zachary Fitzwater really struggling out there. He may be down a cylinder. And I would not be surprised if he's struggling with minimum speed just a little bit. But anyway, Weeks is now into second position. Marchese now has a big buffer on the rest of the field. The line, it'll be 8 laps to go. The season is coming to a close. Anthony Marchese, Hardy's champion, had a really rocky start to the year. It struggled a lot compared to his teammates Matt Rodriguez and Dylan Schwellenberg. How about that? How about that? No give up by that CM Racing team. That was an engine failure. It was reported an engine failure for the 8. That was not a tire failure. That was not a suspension failure. That was an engine failure. And he parked it on the back straightaway. And that team got him back out there. Unbelievable. CM Racing and Alex Benyako determined to finish the race on the racetrack. And, well, it didn't look like it was a catastrophic failure. Kind of like earlier with Charlie Smith, who got back out there as well. Didn't he get back out there? No, Charlie Smith did not get back out there. Anyway, 2 cars out of the race. And importantly, DJ Kurtis was the one with 6 laps to go. Now, Jake Baskinger was dropped down to 4th position, still in position to win the championship. However, up front for the win, Anthony Marchese. Marchese in the 54 was very close to winning at Kansas. He lost out in that race to DJ Kurtis. And man, Anthony Marchese looking for that win. He has not had a single race win in his Sony Cup Series career. With 5 laps to go, we still have 4 cars within a second. Marchese struggling a little bit here in the final 5 laps. But for Jake Baskinger, man, look at Dodd in the 44 going to the outside. He's trying to stay out of the way, but Dodd's also a little quicker than Marchese. 4 to go. Oh, man, Dodd to the inside, going to be messing with Marchese a little bit. Marchese's got the preferred groove right there in the middle line. It's kind of where you want to be when the tires are wearing out. Weeks, Schwellenberg, and Baskinger pressurizing Marchese for the win. Dejan Weeks looking to finish the year off strong. Weeks in the 30 team. They could have won the championship this season, but they've had about 8 failures all year. 8 DNFs. For Dejan Weeks looking to get the win. Weeks looking for that 5th win of the season. We haven't had a driver. We talked about it at Rockingham. The most wins all time of a driver per season is 5. Nobody's got 5 wins this season. Weeks is looking for that 5th win this season. They are side by side, and Baskinger clears Schwellenberg. 2 laps to go in the championship for 2022. Marchese looking for his first win in the Sony Cup Series. Further back, Jake Baskinger, Georgia boy, looking to bring it home in the state of Georgia. The crowd loving this. A lap and a half to go at the 1.5 miles in Atlanta. Marchese versus Weeks. Monster Energy versus Mountain Dew. Who are you picking? The Walmart Challenger peeking out ahead with the lead for the championship. It looks good for Baskinger one more time around. Looking for his 5th win this season. Marchese looking for his first. Dejan Weeks is going to steal the win away from Anthony Marchese on the last lap. And Jake Baskinger, shades of season 13, DJ Kurtis from 33 points back. Jake Baskinger overtakes DJ Kurtis in the championship. Weeks wins, but it's going to be Jake Baskinger, champion of 2022. From a 33-point deficit, make that 33-point deficit to a 10-point advantage. Jake Baskinger wins. Oh my goodness. Baskinger's the champion. A near perfect season for Jake Baskinger. How can it not be perfect? If he had won Indianapolis, it would have been the most insane season I've seen of a driver. How about Weeks? Weeks didn't care. Weeks did not care that Marchese was wanting his first win. Dejan Weeks went up there and stole it. And Monster Energy Racing has momentum heading into next season. How about that for Dejan Weeks? 5 wins. Like I mentioned, Nick Mason, Noah Hart were tied with 4 wins in 2016. That was the most that a driver had won in season 2016. But in every year, in the year format, from 2015 onwards, somebody's gotten at least 5 wins. Nobody other than Baskinger and Weeks have had 4, but they haven't gotten to 5. Weeks just put his 5th win on the board, making him all by himself the most winning driver of the 2022 season. But all the glory goes to Jake Baskinger here in Georgia at Atlanta, his home state. Imagine winning the championship in your home state down the road from the hometown you grew up in. What a season for Jake Baskinger. It felt like it was a little unfair for Jake Baskinger to miss Martinsville. That team wanted him to race at Martinsville despite the concussion protocol. Jake Baskinger in 2020 had that points penalty and had an injury, missed a race then, and he lost to Luke Martin. It was the most brutal way to lose the championship in 2020. and similar situation was unfolding right in front of him again, like deja vu in the 2022 season. Now, DJ Kurtis finishing dead last with an engine failure. That is just the most cruel way to lose the title. But he also had a points penalty at Portland, and then this engine failure is just a similar way, the same way that Jake Baskinger felt at Homestead. Baskinger got injured at Homestead, finished 39th that day, and then didn't even score points. So Baskinger's had a tough road as well. So any criticism that can be said about, well, Kurtis blew up and Baskinger got lucky, Baskinger had a lot to overcome as well. I think everybody believed after Martinsville, when DJ Kurtis finished third that day and left with a big margin heading into Rockingham, that it was looking very, very bleak that Jake Baskinger would overturn it. That was just looking so unlikely. But Jake Baskinger kept his head down, did what he did best, stayed focused, and he's a two-time champion of the Sony Cup Series. DJ Kurtis will have to wait for the 2023 season to try and get redemption and try and tie Jordan Davis in 2023 for 3 championships. But man, huge props and congratulations to Jake Baskinger, and even congratulations to Dejon Weeks and Monster Energy Racing. Got a feel for Anthony Marchese as well today, finishing second. He dominated. Anthony Marchese dominated. He is turning into such a great driver out there. And I think him going to Red Bull Racing, he's going to be an amazing driver for that organization. And you might want to keep an eye out for Marchese in 2023. And even for Turner Performance and Monster Energy Racing, and Cybertron Motorsports, they all did so well this season. You got to wonder how they're going to fare for the next gen in the 2023 season. That's all for this year. That's all for the 2022 season. It is a wrap. Congratulations to Jake Baskinger on winning the Drivers' Championship and becoming a 2-time champion. And until next time, see you later.